This show is phenomenal. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen the videos that I made about the show before. We already knew that the storylines, the concept was already going to be phenomenal, but I think what we've seen in execution, that this is a serious contender of Game of Thrones impact and potentially even more. Because one thing I will say that happened in Game of Thrones that hasn't really happened here is with Game of Thrones, they set the scene, right? So there was a lot of seasons that they were sort of pacing. And they set the scene. It's a thing that we call, in filmmaking, where you set the scene because you're letting people understand the world that we're in. We're letting people understand the characters, you understand? And you're just letting people understand the rules of this world. And because we already have the prerequisite from watching Game of Thrones, we already understand the histories, we already understand the ways that they lived, we understand all the cultural things. They didn't have to do all that setup, and they could start this season sort of jam-packed and skip through time and get away with it because we already understand the backstories, we understand the rules of the world. And because of that, I will say that they have much quickly jumped into a phenomenal series from the get-go. Like this show, I think it had like 10 million or so streams when it went 10 million viewers when it came out the opening weekend, and everywhere we all know it's a success. It's a success of a show because of all the setup has already been done. So I don't think it is productive to compare House of the Dragon to Game of Thrones, which is better, but it's really telling that this show is potentially on the same level, potentially even better if they end it better. And I think for me, what I really enjoyed, I think it was around the episode 3 mark where I really saw, it was episode 3 mark when Daemon got into that battle scene, and I really experienced the essence of Game of Thrones. Everything from the dialogue, the way the mannerisms of the characters, the way that they portray these roles, the dynamicism or the multi-dimensionalism of the characters, so many things.